Satnam, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Elemental Healing Temple. My name is Kwali Kumara, Hari Bajam Kaur, for some of you that maybe haven't met me before, and this is Pandora Ixchel, one of the most recent additions into the healing sanctuary of serpents that I keep in the Elemental Healing Temple. For those of you not aware, I rescue snakes, all different shapes and sizes, with all different backgrounds, and we work with them to help people release any fear or anxiety, or just to understand their own Kundalini life force energy on a deeper level by meditating with live snakes. So whenever I do one of these interviews with my gorgeous galactic ambassadors or hand-selected Elemental Healing Temple beautiful souls that are here to share their sacred work and journeys with us, I always choose a sacred serpent or two to work with the energy of the person that I'm interviewing. And today it felt super appropriate to work with Pandora Ixchel, because we are going into a bit of a Pandora's box with our guest today in the Elemental Healing Temple. And we are also going to be exploring the almighty realms of medicine and healing. And Ixchel, for those of you that don't know, was the Mayan goddess of fertility and healing and medicine, sacred medicines. So we are about to meet the most beautiful and awesome soul who I have known possibly the longest out of all of the Elemental Healing Temple crew. We've been friends for over 20 years, and we've been on this incredible journey of friendship together. We've been on the incredible journey of motherhood together, because we both have sons of a similar age, and we have our beautiful past life experience of when we were in our glory days dancing together with thousands of people back in the performance art world that I used to be in, when I used to dance very beautifully on stage, sometimes with Magda, for many different wonderful, amazing DJs and brilliant musicians. And whenever me and Magda get together, we have this fountain of experience that we have to share with each other that goes so deep, because we experience so many wonderful times dancing together to our favourite music on many, many dance floors and many stages. And this isn't a world that we live in at the moment, but it's certainly a world that we like to remember, and we remember it so fondly whenever we're together. So Magda has the most incredible story. Magdalena Shakti is her spiritual name, and she was born with the name Magdalena, which I always think is super amazing and in itself very poignant and powerful. When you learn of her story, you will see why. So we together have unturned many rocks in both of our lives, and we've processed a lot of our soul journey and our healing together. And Magda's been on the biggest healing journey of anyone I know. She was basically given 3 weeks to live about 2 years ago. She'll tell you exactly there.
Exactly 2 years ago, actually,
Exactly.
15th of September, 2 years ago.
Amazing. So 2 years ago, we sat in my car after Magda came to a yoga class of mine. She would travel down to come and do Kundalini with me. And she told me that she had something that she had been keeping a secret for a very long time to do with her health. And I literally wasn't going to let that go. So I dug and dug and dug and dug until I finally unearthed that she had this, what she already knew to be cancerous on her breast. And I was not convinced, actually, at that moment. I was not convinced, because I knew that she was one of the most healthiest women that I actually knew. I always looked to her as one of the people that I would take my guidance from around eating and being as pure and high vibrational as possible when it came to diet and well-being. She was extremely, extremely potent with her own practice, and her own diet was really a diet that you would not think in a million years that she would be able to have manifested such a issue with her health. So I begged her to go and get a proper diagnosis so that we knew that it really was what it was. And she did promise me to do that, even though she had been working with it alone for such a long time and feeling that she knew already what it was, but just in a very toxic situation at home. So she obviously didn't really give herself enough time and space to be able to process what needed to be processed in order to deal with what needed to be dealt with. So finally, thankfully, she told me, and that was the crack in the ice that we needed for her to be able to move forward, because once you know what you're dealing with, then you can fix it. Whereas, you know, there's only so much that she could do on a personal level, especially as she was still a busy mother holding a home together, and lots of other dynamics which maybe she'll share with us and maybe she won't. But her story is extremely deep and profound. There's so many different facets to it that we won't be able to touch on all of them today. And it almost will be like I could interview Magda about 10 times over about her journey, because it's so amazing and nothing short of a miracle, really. And I really wanted her to be in the temple today because because she's one of our amazing practitioners who holds our void space so beautifully, but also because I know there's many people out there that will really benefit from her story and from hearing her speak and from hearing the journey that she's been on, which is basically her journey to wellness, from being given 3 weeks to live on the planet with her, bless her, her Polish doctor crying into her own hands telling her the news, to go from that and to have the call that I had, which was straight after that meeting, to be here now where we are 2 years later with her literally a picture of health. There's still a few things going on which we need to get to the bottom of, but this beautiful, amazing goddess has basically healed herself inside out with so many different aspects to her cancer, which it started in her breast, but then it began to move around as it does. And after she managed to basically remove her own breast without using a single blade, she managed to release all of the cancerous tissue that was in her own breast. She did that over, I think it was a process of about a year. And the reason I'm talking to you a lot about these fine details is because, as you can imagine, for her it's still a really difficult subject to talk about, and I've had to, you know, almost envelope her in a big hug to get her here today to talk about it with you, because I really want her to share everything, but I am aware as well that it's still very delicate subject for her. So I'm going to try my best to tell you some of the bits that maybe would be emotional for her, like that particular part of it. But I really want you to hear that part of it, because for me, it's such an incredible, amazing thing that she's done. I'd never heard of that before, that anyone was able to remove the cancerous tissue themselves through what is essentially a liver pack. So she's going to hopefully open up and tell us amazing little things about everything that she's done in her protocol. Literally this beautiful goddess, priestess of medicine, which she now is, because she's become such a fountain of wisdom about what herbs and recipes and remedies that you can take on a daily basis to bring yourself back into wholeness. And even when she goes to bed at night, she's lying in a very amazing cyber machine, which she'll tell us what the name of it is. I think it's a Rife machine that she
Rife machine.
that she manifested. So even when she's sleeping, she's healing. So every single part of her life, every waking minute and every moment that she's asleep, she is focused on bringing herself back to health and wellness. And if ever there was a message for you out there, if anyone is struggling with any healing complaint, any issue that's going on for you, please know that you can release it. You can get to the bottom of it. You can heal it. And if anything, this interview is to inspire maybe just even one person just to take the ball into their own hands, to be able to do some really, really profound things that may not even have to be that life-changing. There's many things that we can do to help ourselves back to wholeness and wellness that are subtle, easy to do little treatments that maybe you've never heard of before. So we're going to try and squeeze as much in as possible, and if we can't squeeze it all in, then we're just going to come back and do another interview. But Magda, I love you, sister. I'm so grateful that you come to talk to us today. Please feel completely at home. You're so welcome, and we just honor you for being here and for sharing your story with us. Welcome to the Healing Temple. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Kwali, thank you very much for this introduction. Thank you, sister. I love you so much as well. It's just been a very profound journey together. And I'm really happy to be part of your project, of the Elemental Healing Temple project. It's just such a great, amazing, becoming a community of people who can contribute to the healing, not only of individuals who come in contact with us, but also with the collective, you know, on the collective energy level, doing amazing work with the grid and with the quantum field. So this is just such an honor to be part of it, and such an honor to speak with you today about the journey that you've been such a huge part of. Yes, so really honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for manifesting with me, because when we've been on our big healing downloads together, we've been manifesting the Healing Temple together. Every time we get together, we sit, we meditate, we talk about the vision, we talk about the dream, and we talk about how many people will be able to serve and help and heal with everything that we have, all of our tools that we have in our beautiful healing boxes, to be able to support people that are on similar journeys. And the one thing I find really profound is that in order to really truly live the dream and walk the talk and really vibrate in the place of the Elemental Healing Temple, it's really important that we have a hero's journey, that we actually have a victory that is really a real story that has brought, that you have brought to us, which is coming from the deepest, darkest place into the most profound place of light and love, and how you found this beautiful strength within you during the darkest of times. Like, I often feel like whenever I have a down day, I actually think of you, and I think I can't possibly be down about anything in my life. This woman has been through so much, yet she always has a smile, and she always has love in her heart and in her voice. And my children notice it as well, my partner. We all say there's so much love that pours out of you as a being, that it really is such an incredible achievement to have gone through everything you've gone through and still always have a beautiful smile on your face, love in your heart, and care and kindness towards other people. You know, it's like you're one of the most profound human beings that I know. And you know, I just can't thank you enough for always just being such an inspiration in my life. Like, you don't even know how much of an inspiration you are to me, but you are. And I really hope that if you can inspire anyone out there as much as you inspire me, and then we can send that inspiration viral, because it's an amazing thing, an absolutely amazing thing. So we've been talking a lot about what people have been doing during this Great Awakening. I've stopped calling it the lockdown where I can now, because lockdown has that connotation of just, you know, locking and downing. So during the Great Awakening, I've been asking people what they've been up to, and how they've been processing it, and how they've been finding it. And what I find so hilariously interesting is that for you, not a lot changed, because you are already completely in your own temple and inside yourself, and going through your own healing personal journey, which did involve not actually leaving the house for many, many days. And sometimes you went for very long periods in complete silence, where you wouldn't even speak to anyone, and you were just in your healing meditation. So can you talk to us a little bit about that, and how that journey of being inside and going deep within yourself has actually led you to being a bit of a master or mistress of the void?
Of course, yeah. Thank you, my love. Just want to say, you know, in the darkest of times, in the darkest of times, it's important to have someone who holds your hand and who is there for you. And you've absolutely been that person, you know. In your busy life, like I always say, woman with like 20 snakes, 2 kids and a dog, was to make living as well. On top of that, you've been always available to me, you know. So I always knew it, in the hardest of moments, I could just talk to you or leave you a download on WhatsApp, and you would listen to it, you would respond, you would be there for me. And that meant the world to me, So it's not just me, the hero, but it's the woman behind the hero as well, who is the hero, because it's been invaluable, amazing and invaluable experience having you as a best friend, flying my flag no matter what.
Always.
And talking about the lockdown, well, I think not saying lockdown, but the awakening, literally, I think is a great opportunity for everybody to go inwards and to really have a personal retreat, It's been like everyone is always complaining about working too much, about being too busy. And then when they had to stop, they still complain about having to stop. But the fact, the enlightened beings, the people who are conscious, they use it as opportunity rather than challenge. Like we say, every challenge is an opportunity. So the lockdown can be used as an opportunity to heal, to deepen your interest, to deepen self-awareness, to go inwards. Even for those people who had nowhere to go, no outside space to go and had to stay in, it's like a silent retreat, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just absolutely amazing, I think, for the whole world to look within. And for me, it was like a bit of a lockdown, because especially since January, when the cancer progressed into my bones more and my spine started to hurt a lot, I was like not able to actually go out, come to London dancing, or come to your yoga classes, which I've been coming to weekly almost for the past year and a half. So,
which, by the way, is so incredible that even in your condition, you warriored it all the way from Margate to come to the workshops. And like half the time, you couldn't do the physical postures because that was out of where you were at in that particular moment in your healing. But just being in the space, you came and you were just in the space of healing and received the gongs and just visualize the practice and still receive benefits. So,
absolutely, it's an act of self-love, and then I'm continuing anyway every Sunday attending your workshops online ever since we've not been able to see each other face to face in London. So I think it's an act of self-love, not giving up. I think healing is really it's not about pushing and fighting, because that creates resistance, but it's also not about giving up and thinking that there's nothing left. It's about complete surrender and allowing for what is happening to happen, accepting what is, and loving yourself through the wars, through whatever is happening, loving yourself and taking care of yourself. Like I've refused to give up straight after coming out of the doctor's office in Poland when I was given weeks to live. I just immediately thought, no one is going to decide about my lifespan. No one is going to tell me when I'm going to die, because anyone could die any minute, There's not like we know when any of us would pass on, So immediately I decided, okay, I would just surrender to the process and do my best to be my best, and I will not accept anyone's opinion about my condition or my lifespan. So coming back to the lockdown and how I cope with that, basically just at the beginning of the lockdown, the week of the lockdown, 3 of my vertebrae fractured. So in that point, I was like in position of not being able to move at all. I was in excruciating pain. And even though I've been following natural protocols and doing things in line with nature and allowing my body to heal in a natural way, at that point I had to take painkillers, which were opioids, morphine painkillers, and I had to do rounds of radiotherapy, which I chose to do as an integrative approach, because I believe that we have to choose whatever is good for us at the given moment and choose without judgment, So even though I'm not into conventional medicine, I will use the tools from the conventional medicine when it is necessary or needed for my body. So I'm just really open-minded in my healing journey. And that's how the lockdown started for me. So I was in excruciating pain. I wasn't able to go anywhere. And all I had left at that moment was going in and going inwards. And I had a very strong meditation practice before that. But I think in that moment, when I had nothing left, the only thing I could go get into and the only thing I had left was the void. So really, that's when my real deep journey into the void began. And that's the story of my lockdown, basically. I've been like going on a big journeys inwards, on the big journeys into the quantum field. And yeah, how I see the void is the quantum field. I think void is God, is quantum field, is the higher intelligence from which everything is created, from which everything comes into existence. So going into the void, even though it is a dark and empty space, once you're there, you feel enveloped by love, you know, and it is the field of all possibilities. So if you do the meditation in the right way, if you allow to come from within your heart and expand into the void from that energy of the heart and generate, no matter the situation, we are always able to generate emotions at will. And I think that's the great strength. And that was a great saving tool for me, that I knew that no matter what is going on outside of me, whether I can move or not, whether there's the fear of cancer, of metastasis, of going, not know, the uncertainty of going worse or better, you know, with my health. I always knew that if I just close my eyes and allow myself to slow down my breath, move attention into my heart, I will be able to generate positive emotion at will. And that's the point of freedom. Because in that moment, when you know you can generate a positive emotion at will, you are independent of the circumstances. You are independent of what others say, how others see you. You're independent of anything that goes on in your world. And I really say it from the point of experience, because I couldn't move. I was in excruciating pain. I had to spend lockdown with my ex-partner, which was not nice at all. And in that point, I could just lie down, close my eyes, and generate emotion. And maybe joy or happiness was not the one that I could generate at the time, but the emotions of gratitude and appreciation, those are the ones that I found the easiest to generate and the most healing. And being grateful for anything, you know, being grateful for the fact that I have a home to live in. I have a comfortable bed with nice grounding sheet where I can ground, with Rife machine going and healing me as I'm meditating, that I have electricity, I have internet, I can connect, I can speak to friends, I can listen to amazing seminars and online courses. So there's a lot to be grateful for, even in the darkest of times, because I think we are very privileged living where we are in the Western world and having so many things to be grateful for. We just have to look around. And then even grateful for being able to breathe, you know. I remember at the beginning of my healing journey with cancer, when I came back from Poland, I couldn't even breathe because cancer metastasized to the lungs and to the bones. So it was very hard for me to breathe. I was always breathless, I couldn't speak. And it was just, I couldn't even walk too far without losing my breath. So being able to be grateful for just being able to breathe, you know, and then as the pain was going down, I was able to get off the painkillers, being grateful for everything, being able to walk to the bathroom. You know, I remember first time I was able to put my socks on by myself, I cried tears of gratitude because I was able to lift my leg, you know, and like do it by myself. And that was amazing, you know. So there is always something to be grateful for. And I think that's an important takeaway for anyone who is on a healing journey, or anyone who is on a journey, because the gratitude will generate emotions that will build up the immune system. It's actually proven that 10 minutes of gratitude a day increases immune system. So it is useful tool and free for anyone, you know, for people who are on a healing journey or people who are in a great health to maintain that health. So yeah, and that's been my lockdown experience. I'm much better than I was, I have to say. Obviously, it's 2 years since some doctor gave me the opinion about me living few weeks. So I'm 2 years later. I've been utilizing all the tools that I could find that my intuition and my heart was telling me are right for me, including conventional medicine and alternative medicine. I've been doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy using the frequency machine, right frequency machine, and doing daily coffee enemas. I have amazing infrared sauna with tourmaline crystals inside, which I use every day. So it is a full-time job, like you said, Kwali. It's just like if you want to turn your life around, I think, and especially in the situation, in like very serious situation in which I was, I had to do everything in my power to achieve this goal. And as well, I had to dedicate all the time I could, That's why as well, I had to, when I was on holiday in Poland, I was with my little boy, who was 5 at the time. And even though we were very close always, I was stay-at-home mom before that. And I was taking care of him, breastfeeding him for 3 years. I had to make the hard decision to leave him with my mom and come back to England by myself, which was like really, really difficult for both of us, myself and my son. And I had to just dedicate 100% of my time, my energy, my effort into resting and healing if I wanted to turn it all around. So yeah, dedication, I think, and really faith, believing that that it is possible. And as we know from quantum physics at the moment, the quantum field, the void, is the realm of all possibilities. So only if you can assume the feeling of your wishes already being fulfilled and expand into that void, you can choose that possibility that is your target, that is your goal. So it is all possible. It's not just airy-fairy, stuff. It's not woo anymore. It's actually being proven and, talked about by many scientists and many people in the spiritual realm. Yeah. So it is very, very real and very possible to achieve whatever you want. You just have to put your, not so much mind to it, your heart to it, I think. It all begins in the heart. Yeah.
I think that's exactly what the message is as well. And it's interesting for your journey that as the cancer sort of moved around your body, starting with your breast, and you dealt with it there, and you did the liver packs to release the badness from what was an open wound, essentially, wasn't it? And you dressed that every evening with your potions to pull out the badness, and as you did that, you went into the subconscious reason. So it's what I noticed is that every part of your cancer, every area that it's moved to, you've unraveled and dug out the darkness that caused the cancer to be in that particular part of your body. Because as we all know, we manifest these illnesses through unresolved emotions that that get held and are in specific parts of our body for a reason, and obviously you've dealt with your breast, you've dealt with your thyroid that also had a really extreme issue, which was then brought up the fact that you weren't speaking your truth, and then your breast, obviously that was connected to motherhood and over mothering. And then as it's moved into the final, that like straw that literally broke the camel's back, pardon the pun, because your back did literally break around your heart chakra. And I know I say that laughing, it's not a funny matter, but it's just so interesting to me that like literally the vertebrae that your heart chakra sits on, your heart broke, as did your and then from that healing journey through you actually realizing that it's a broken heart that you have, and how every single part of the cancer has had this big revelation for you, hasn't it? Like, and there's probably areas that I've missed there as well, and including your blood and your arm, when your arms was twice the size, 3 times the size that the other arm, and then you had to go through that process of healing the arm.
Yeah, the back.
Yeah, the back, like you would unrecognizable like to what they were before. Plus at one point you looked 9 months pregnant because you were retaining so much water, and then that was you dealing with your manipura, with your power. So yeah, I just find it so fascinating as someone that's held your hand on this journey, that every time you've had to find a new remedy or a new cure for that particular part of that particular manifestation, that, you know, we're calling it cancer, that it's been everywhere, but it's manifested itself in some, you know, crazy ways, hasn't it? You know, like your
Yes.
body literally physically crying out for help in various different parts of you, or at least that's how it seemed to me, and it's fascinating. So yeah, I just
Yeah,
want.
absolutely. You know, we cannot overlook the emotional part, the basis of the disease, and especially cancer. I really see it as the emotional disease. Is body trying to deal with whatever traumas, even past traumas, you know, even going all the way back to the very early years of our life, forgotten traumas, childhood abuse, going and it's not actually just the traumas and the things that happen in our life, it's how we respond to them. So going into epigenetics, we are the terrain for the cancer to develop. And the terrain that cancer likes is darkness, you know, is lack of oxygen, and is toxicity. And that's where cancer grows. It's basically your body kind of taking all that trauma, putting it into a ball, which is the tumor, to protect you and to save your life. So it is not, it's actually a symptom of your body fighting to survive. It's not like this, it's not that fearful cancer that comes, you know, from somewhere else and attacks your body like a virus and then eats away on you. It's not. It's your body actually encapsulating the toxicity, and can be environmental toxicity, can be the toxicity from food we eat, or can be this emotional toxicity. And I think that's what you were talking about. The emotional, spiritual side of cancer is huge, you know. And yeah, it is well known that especially breast cancer is connected with the mothering or the relationship, usually marriage, or it can be the relationship to other males. Well, men get cancer, breast cancer as well. But talking about females with the breast cancer, often is a relationship with the husband or partner, or father or grandfather. And I seem to have in my life like a string of traumatic, abusive relationships with my grandfather, father, and then my husband of 18 years. So just prior to prior to the cancer forming in my breast, because as you said, I felt the lump 2 years before I told you about it. So it's the 2 years mark again. So that was about 4 years ago when I first felt the lump in my breast. And at that time, my relationship was falling apart. And kind of, you know, like I always felt healthy, like you said. I was a yoga teacher for over, you know, for practitioner of yoga for over 20 years, teacher for 10 years now. I've always been vegetarian since over 25 years, eating mainly organic body care, organic food, staying, probably the spirituality kind of, I didn't have so much time to tap into the divine after the birth of my son. But that was connected as well with the way my marriage went. I kind of felt left, you know, and alone, abandoned, betrayed by my husband, ex-husband now. And sheer exhaustion, you know, like we know, all mothers, we know how demanding parenthood is, you know. And I was breastfeeding for 3 years, so it's extended breastfeeding like yourself, you know, we are the earth mamas. We want the best for our little ones, and we want to give them the best nutrition and nourishment we can, and closeness and intimacy. So I really felt invincible, you know, from the physical part. I was like, yes, I'm not in danger of cancer. I've just been breastfeeding for 3 years, and that's supposed to protect you from breast cancer as well. And, you know, I'm eating healthy. I'm making sure I'm using, you know, even products to clean my house, to avoid any toxicity. I live by the ocean, you know, 100 meters away from the beach. So the air is clean. So really, first I was in denial. I didn't really want to admit the cancer was there. But now I realize how terrified I was of like having to change anything in my life because of the way my marriage went, and of being really literally being a single mother. I didn't know how to turn it around, you know. I didn't know how to take care of my boy and implement more self-care. And just, it felt terrifying, you know. It felt like this unknown territory that I would have to change everything in my life to fix. And in fact, my body was whispering, was telling me to look within, to understand what's happening, but I didn't hear it until it started to scream. And literally, like that time in the car when we spoke first time about the lump in the breast, if I didn't just go to Poland almost straight away, see doctor and start acting on it, I would just drop dead while running on the school runs, It's like I would literally just drop dead one day, and that's it. That would be the end of it, because I was not looking within, not looking at myself and my emotions, And the emotional part, like you said, coming back to that, is the fundamental part of any healing. Now, I really believe that any dis-ease is the emotions and the mind not at ease. And the body is just the manifestation, We've learned from quantum physics as well that it's not that the body emanates the field around the body, even the electromagnetic field that we know we all have as a torus, but it's the field that creates matter. So we are the manifestation of what is going on in our energy field. And that field is influenced by our emotions and feelings mainly. Thoughts have electric impulse because the brain is electricity, but the heart have the magnetic field. So that's the emotions and the feelings can affect and change the field around us. So even saying having broken heart, there's some incoherence in the communication between heart and brain, and there's incoherence in the field around the body. And that incoherence manifests as the actual disease, especially with cancer, I think, because it's quite concentrated tissue that refuses to die, isn't it? It's not like an evil entity that tries to kill you. It's actually cells that say we don't want to die, and they just stick together and start growing, and expanding. So I think solving the emotional issues first forms basis for any kind of healing to be possible at all. And unfortunately, the conventional medicine doesn't address that at all. And it is very difficult. And I can see how, when you go to doctor, to conventional oncologist, no one asks you how you're feeling on emotional level. There's no counseling of any kind offered, or any even techniques that could be introduced to people, like EFT, emotional freedom technique. It can be so useful, and it's completely free, because once you got the hang of it, you do it by yourself. But no one talks about it. No one offers that to any kind of patients in the hospital, and especially to cancer patients. So I think that's a huge component of it. And yes, breast cancer connected to now I'm realizing that especially right breast is the connection to the marriage and relationship. So that was just become so obvious to me. I had to work on the issues, and not so much blaming my partner or playing a victim here. It's more about how I responded to it, If I wasn't a deep feeling, sensitive person, maybe I wouldn't care about those things and I wouldn't manifest the cancer, but it is how I respond. So like I said before with epigenetics, how we respond to the environment creates certain state in our body physically, is a biological reaction. So say if you get angry or stressed and you get into that fight or flight response, you're starting to activate your adrenal glands and produce adrenaline and cortisol. That affects the whole biology of the chemistry of your body and puts it out of balance. On the other hand, if you are in parasympathetic state, where you're actually feeling safe, feeling comfortable, feeling happy, feeling loved, in that state, you're activating the release of oxytocin and dopamine from your pineal gland. And that brings the body into the state of homeostasis, where the healing is possible. Because obviously the body is not going to heal when you're in fight or flight. You have to run, you have to protect yourself. There's no time for healing. There's no time for enlightenment. There's no time for meditating. There's only time to protect yourself and run or fight. But if you're feeling safe and into that parasympathetic side of your nervous system, then you can have time for healing, because your body says, okay, what now? Let's improve our immune system. Let's fix all those places that need fixing. Let's detoxify. We have time for it. We are safe. So I think the emotional side is just huge, you know. We could like have whole interview just about that, or more than one interview just about that. Is huge.
And we
And that's
will.
why spirit as well and emotions are the center of elemental healing temple.
That's right. Yeah.
That is the center of all the elements, isn't it? The spirit.
Spirit, absolutely, and we will talk many more about all of this because it's so profound. Even not connected to cancer, what you're saying is really resonating for me at the moment. Is that we've been put into a fear place as humanity with the new rules and regulations that seem to be increasingly getting more restrictive, and masks for me having to the first day of school wasn't so bad because mums weren't really wearing masks and everything seemed quite normal, and then there was a memo that went out that basically changed everything, and the following day I went into school and I really felt that the harshness of every single mother there with their mask on, kissing their children through masks. And what you're saying about being in that fight or flight state, literally for a society that's being projected, having fear projected at them so much on a daily basis, everybody that isn't awake and conscious and aware of these things, having done the work themselves to know, to be able to see the lie and see the truth of the situation, is going to be in that fearful state, which means everybody is going to be operating in that place where they're going to be either manifesting disease or cultivating something that's already there that's just going to come up to the surface. So what you're saying, like, is so relevant, for people that are watching this now, to just to remember that that fight or flight it's there for a reason. It's there to protect you, and it's not that we're not supposed to be living in it daily. So just for people to awaken to that, and even if everyone is complying and they're wearing a mask, but then just to not be in that fearful place with that mask, because they
Absolutely.
And
yeah, because we can choose how we respond to it. That's the whole thing. Yes, the government or the powers that might be putting us into that fearful state, they can project, they can create kind of circumstances, but they cannot tell us how to respond to them. And I think that's the power that comes from within, and that I've learned. Like, this is huge thing on me on the healing journey, that you have choice on how you respond to the environment, to anything that is happening around you. Because if you choose to respond to these restrictions and the whole lockdown situation and the mask with fear, then you are lowering your immune system. Actually, it's been proven and tested. There's a lot of research online about it, that the fear in itself lowers the immune system very fast, like within, I think within minutes, 10, 15 minutes of stress and fear lowers the immune system for extended period of time. So I'm more susceptible to actually catch the virus if there is a virus around, and go down with it, because the body is much weaker. The body is much weaker in that situation. So this is huge, how we respond to our environment, and if we allow people to manipulate us. And there is also another state, there's the fight or flight, but there is also hide. And you would think that this is the sympathetic nervous system with the hide and flight response to the stress is the most immediate response. And that was meant for short periods of time, like you said, to run away from a predator, but not to live in that state. And then there is the side of parasympathetic nervous system, the other side, the ancient part of the vagus nerve, which is creating the state of hide. And that is even more dangerous, I think, because in that state, you don't have heart palpitations, you're not sweating, you don't have the classic, arousal of the nervous arousal symptoms, but you're actually calm, but you kind of switched off because you have to hide, because the stress has been so extensive and so it's gone for so long and it's been so intense that the only way is to hide, like a possum. They just freeze and play dead. And I think that is even more dangerous than the fight or flight. And I think with the extended period of lockdown and the restrictions, people almost pushed into that state of hide and freeze. And then in that state, there's as well no healing. There's no homeostasis in the body. The body is out of balance. So even if it appears completely calm, it is actually not calm, it's switched off. And that is a state that people don't recognize. They think maybe I'm over the stress, but actually they're in the height response, they're protecting themselves by playing dead. And that doesn't lead to health or healing at all. So it's very important to stay in that part of the parasympathetic nervous system and of the vagal nerve, where everything is actually feeling safe, and you're actually responding from the place of feeling safe and being loved. And going back to the void, if we are really practicing that meditation, going into the void, knowing that when we close our eyes, there is that space of God, God, we can call it God, we can call creator, or anything anyone wants to call this higher intelligence and higher power. But when you're there, you are completely loved and you are completely safe. And realizing that this is unconditional love. And what that means is there's nothing we can do to be loved less or to lose that love. And as well, there's nothing we can do to be loved more, because that's on max already. That love is completely steady on max, no matter what. And if you're able to if you get into that practice, and even 5 minutes a day, you can close your eyes and be in the void, you start experiencing those feelings of being loved and being safe. That resets the immune system, resets the fight, flight, or hide response, and puts you back into the parasympathetic state, where you can actually begin healing or begin giving and emanating that love to others around you who need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why, like going back to what you said about gratitude, and it's gratitude and love is the easiest emotions to generate in the body. And we've always got something to be grateful for, even on this planet at the moment, as she goes through her great awakening. And some bits of it are really, really hard to handle and very, very gooey as we step through the goo into the roux. But if we keep coming back to that place of gratitude, then we're always going to be serving ourselves and each other, because from that place is everything else springs forth, doesn't it? So the attitude of gratitude, I think, is something that everybody struggles with to start with, but once you have access to it, like what you say, when you practice it and you repeat it even just a few times, you shared with me that you can just get yourself there really quickly now. It's not an effort, because you've created the pathways in your brain to be able to just zoom down there on the motorway really, really fast. Fast track. And I think that's the thing, is that it's hard in the beginning, isn't it? But then once you've been there once you've driven there once, and you've seen it working, which you've you've literally seen it with your own physical eyes, felt it in your own body. I mean, I've seen it. I mean, I know particularly when you were doing the meditations to remove all the fluid from your arm, and you were visualizing that arm shrinking.
Still doing that, yeah, daily.
Yeah. And literally, and when you did it on your stomach, when we came to visit you in Margate, and your belly was huge. And you're such a beautiful elfin waif normally, and there was so much water, and the doctors were like, well, you just deal with it, it's just always going to be there. And you were like, no way, that is not happening, that is not staying. And you literally manifested it away, with your
with simple technique. I would just close my eyes and see my arm again slim. I would stand in my power, in powerful yoga stance. And then I would close my eyes and take only a minute or two, literally not long time, just to feel powerful from within my heart, feel that I'm powerful and invincible, and see my belly flat, like it used to be massively flat, like a yoga belly, and see my arm all veiny and skinny as they always been, and just standing there in my power and really feel like, yes, I did it, thanks. And I felt so strong and so powerful. I do it every day, and you can do it any time of the day, I do it in my shower, when I'm having shower in the evening, I just let the water flow over me, close my eyes and feel invincible and see myself in the body that I want to be in. And slowly, it took a bit of time. It took almost a year, because it was probably summer last year when the lymphodemas were the biggest. Now it's back to normal, my belly is flat again, my arm is skinny and veiny again. So yeah, I'm very grateful. But I just want to let everyone know that it doesn't have to be a huge amount of time every day. It just has to be done properly, It has to be done from within your heart with the real feeling of it, So practicing again, generating that emotion, that feeling of being invincible, being powerful, or whatever it might be in your situation, generating it at will, just for a few minutes a day, while you're doing something else, like having shower, getting ready for bed, and stand there and see yourself the way, and feel yourself, not only see yourself, but visualize, but also feel yourself being the way you want to be, whether it is abundant, prosperous, healthy, slim, fat, whatever it is your goal, just see yourself and feel yourself be that. I think it's so powerful. And it doesn't take time, It takes very little time daily once you get the hang of it. Once you create that neural pathways in your brain, like you said, and you train your body and your brain to be a new person. Because literally, like you cannot, like Dr. Joe Dispenza say, your personality creates your personal reality. So say, using my case as example, if I was going to carry on being the person that got the cancer, I couldn't be person without cancer, because that was the personality that created that personal reality. So to become person free of cancer, I have to have a different personality. I have to become someone else. I have to become person without cancer. And that is that inner work, isn't it? Reprogramming your body, reprogramming your mind to become someone else. And that begins and is like sustained through generating the appropriate emotions to what you want to become.
Really, a full-on shamanic death, isn't it? Letting go of the old, like a living death,
Absolutely.
Instead of actually dying, like that was all that was on the cards for you, apparently, according to the medics.
The old me died.
The old you did die,
Yeah.
and goodbye to her, And do you feel like that there was a definitive moment where that you'd crossed part, where you'd made that leap, or was it a gradual thing? Was there a moment of like, whoa, I've stepped into this new reality now, I can totally like feel it? Was it the other one just disappeared, or was it something that was like a slow burn?
Yes, slow burn, gradual transition. Always bad days and good days, And I think on the beginning, going few steps backwards, one step forward, and then going less steps backwards and more forward, and then still having good and bad days. But at the same time, few very profound realizations. There've been the few meditations when I felt like electricity going through my body, my kundalini just rising, and this electric shocks and shivers and everything that was going on in my body, as if my nervous system was reprogramming and changing, like a serpent shedding the skin, almost like shedding the old me to become the new me. So there was few definite moments, and they always happen in meditation, always being in the void, experiencing, and then kind of when I finishing the meditation and coming out of it as a new person. So after the meditation, I was not anymore the person that started the meditation. Yeah. But it's still small steps, It's not like I wasn't that person that I was 2 years ago, and now I'm someone else. Like I wasn't the person after meditation that I was before. So just little move forward and forward, but definitely gradual, but at the same time, with many very profound awakening moments that were very definite. And I would know that I'm moving forward, that I'm not anymore that me that used to have cancer, that I'm someone else. Even though the cancer is still there, like you said, my breast completely healed. So it just disappeared, which was amazing, because the tumor my whole breast was a tumor. And obviously through a change of diet, lifestyle, emotional detoxification, which is huge still. And as well the conventional hormonal treatment, which I've been doing, everything together with the castor oil packs that would actually remove toxicity from the breast. The tumor completely disappeared. It's not existent, like there is no sign of it. So that is a huge success. It was just amazing. Yeah, amazing to see it happening.
You know me, it's like I know it's awful, but it's like the party piece of the whole thing. It's just like
it's amazing, amazing,
to have
painless as well. Like I didn't have surgery, I didn't have any pain doing it. I would just like it just was happening. It was just healing over and disappearing. Just amazing.
And obviously, you were releasing it into the pack. The liver, what is essentially a liver pack?
Castor
right?
oil, yeah, castor oil packs. I would have them overnight.
And did you intuit that? That's the other thing. It's like your inner guidance system that it just said to do that, right?
Yes, I do remember someone on internet somewhere I read that using the castor oil packs on the tumor sides and the body. It was just a brief thing I read ages
Wouldn't have
ago.
thought that it would like do the whole operation for you.
No, he just did it amazing without surgery, without all the side effect of surgery. And that's why with surgery, there's some they cannot remove the whole cancerous tissue. Obviously, some of it stays. With this, it just disappeared, like it all went away. And on all the scans now that I have, it doesn't shows that there's nothing in the breast, which is really, really amazing. Yeah, so still dealing with cancer, and now my bones and lungs, which I'm dealing with it on emotional basis as well. So obviously, it is the heart chakra where the spine is injured, and as well stability. Need for stability, need for certainty. Your skeleton is your foundation, isn't it?
It's
And this,
interesting that when your heart chakra went, when that break happened, there was a situation that had happened at home with your partner that was a break situation, that it was like a really unacceptable situation, like, and then literally it manifested in that break. Like within like hours, I think, or from
yeah.
a phone call to like
Yeah, like literally the next day. I remember we were supposed to meet in London to go partying together. And I found and I said I couldn't go because my back hurt so much. Remember, that was in January.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when it all started, the whole problem with the back leading to the three fractured vertebrae.
Yeah, and of course, the fact that your spine is your support, is everything, and as a yoga teacher as well, that we know how incredibly important the spine is, and all of the chakras sit upon it, and that moment when the next kind of diagnosis that you got was like your spine is crumbling and like it's the end of the world. They didn't quite say 3 weeks to live, but they were like sign yourself off, weren't they?
Well, they basically said, and that's what they're still saying, end of the line, they have nothing else to offer me. Yeah, they offer chemotherapy, which I've always refused because I cherish my body. And I realized that there may be types of cancer that do well with chemotherapy, not in this case. There's no really effective chemotherapy for stage 4 metastatic breast cancer that would give any kind of valuable, benefit, considering how huge are the side effects. And I'm so happy to say that all my vital organs are completely healthy. And that is amazing because my liver, my kidneys, my stomach, my gut, they're all very, very healthy. And that's why I can utilize the herbs and the Gaia, Mother Earth medicines that I'm taking. And I can utilize and absorb them effectively, and I can detoxify effectively the dead cancer cells. That's what really is driving my healing on that level, on the physical level. But the really conventional medicine, they have nothing to offer. They're just offering palliative care.
Palliative care. Yeah.
Palliative care. That's all they can offer. And really is end of line with them. That's why I'm actually looking into other treatments, because obviously I can only go so far by myself. Yeah. So I can implement all the techniques that I learn from books and seminars and webinars and doctors that I listen to online. But then the next step is to find the right doctor, the right treatment that would actually put all I'm doing together, the emotional aspect, the physical aspect, and as well the aspect of the mind, and the thoughts, and all the treatments and cutting edge technologies that are available there, but I cannot do in home settings. So I think that's my next step, because to actually save my bones, I have to act, like the cancer is gone from everywhere else in my body. My lymph nodes are okay. My breast is completely healed, but there are lesions in the spine and lesions in the lungs. And actually the right lung is still filled with fluid and is partially collapsed. And it's, crazy to think that lungs and spine are the top tools of a yoga teacher. Yeah. And it's like, almost I didn't, maybe by deciding to be a stay-at-home mom and giving myself completely to mothering, I kind of lost that part of myself of working as a yoga teacher and had so much to teach and give. And it's kind of, okay, you're not using your tools, we take them away.
Well, there's,
The thyroid as well, like I had hypothyroidism, and a year ago I was told by the doctor that I have to take the conventional thyroid medication, which is artificial hormones, and I have to stay on that for the rest of my life. Well, I never took the medicine, and my thyroid is back to normal because I started to speak up.
Exactly.
I started to be like taking part in your project of the Elemental Healing Temple, and started to speak up for myself as well in my relationship with my partner, starting to be really speaking my truth rather than try to please people and just be the nice me, but just it was kind of a mask of being nice, because I thought to be loved, I need to be pleasing others and complying with others. But when I realized in that void that I'm loved no matter what, and no matter what I do, I cannot be loved more, I was like, okay, then, I don't need to do anything to be loved more or less. I can just be myself. And I think that's what really released the thyroid and started to activate it again. So it's gone back to normal completely now.
Amazing. And of course,
Amazing.
the glands are the guardians of the health, aren't they? So once the thyroid glands and are working well again, and that's going to affect the pituitary and the pineal gland, and it's just going to send all the right signals around the rest of your body to heal, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
I think it's just incredible. And like, seeing you delivering the beautiful void meditation that you did for the Elemental Healing Temple, and so immaculately, and knowing exactly what's going on beneath the surface, but seeing you delivering and in your element, quite literally, that in itself, like, I'm sure will have accelerated your healing massively, because when you don't share your gifts with the world, and you do hide, and then like you say quite rightly, the universe will take them away until you get sharing and get busy getting out there. And that's such a message for everyone, isn't it, to just really follow their heart and live their dream and be what they're meant to be, and follow their destiny, and no matter what anyone says, just do you, because you're the only you that there is. You're the best.
Exactly. And contributing to the collective, that way, because people forget that you don't have to be actually physically interacting with others and doing things physically with others. You can just do work on yourself, and that affects the collective, because everything is connected. And now we know it scientifically. Like, it's beautiful that now the science and the spirituality is so connected and bridged together by the newest discoveries in science. And we know that we are actually literally all connected, all made from the same particles of energy. So doing that work on yourself, even you might be in isolation, in the lockdown by yourself, you are still, by working on yourself, you helping in the collective healing, not only of the planet, but of every soul on the planet.
Absolutely. And that's really what the Healing Temple is all about, the Elemental Healing Temple. That, the strapline is super clear: unity creating harmony. When we unify within ourselves and unify together, that's what creates harmony on the planet, and bringing all these healing modalities under the same roof, in one temple where everybody is welcome and all healing modalities are on offer. This is what's really missing in the world, and that's why we're so adamant to bring it through. And that's why working with you together on it is such a joy, because we're actually going through the process of healing you as a symbol of Gaia, as she goes through her process of healing, which she is at the moment, shaking off everything that's no longer serving her. And she's going through that very deep journey, and I feel very blessed to be on this journey with you. And as we move into it, we're going to get even deeper, because we're going to hopefully be going on an adventure together, which will be incredible, to go and find one of your amazing awesome holistic doctors that you've been researching. So you have a fountain of knowledge, and you are in the process of putting it all up on your website, aren't you? So if people want to share what your protocol, for instance, I mean, we could do another whole interview on your protocol, like what you're doing on a daily basis, all the different amazing tricks and healing escapades that you're on. There's just so much to talk about with that. But there's also so much to talk about with who's inspiring you as well. You mentioned Joe Dispenza, but I know that there's a lot of other really inspirational doctors out there that you've been researching researching, and you've broken the back of research, really. So if anybody is feeling overwhelmed by what's on offer out there, which is a lot, you know, Magda's been so deep within this process of researching the best everything for the last 2 years. So, you know, she pretty much has become a connoisseur on who to listen to and who is, you know, the most inspiring and the most cutting edge. I think she's probably watched every single documentary on cancer. She's probably watched every single summit that's been out there. You know, she's just really dedicated her whole existence to becoming a fountain of knowledge of healing and transformation. And one of the doctors that you've come across has really impressed you, and they have to be really good to impress Magda, because you've got to bear in mind that she's actually integrated so much of everybody's best protocol that she's pretty much a master in her own right of healing. So it's very hard for her to find someone that can actually help her do more and go deeper, to just sort of get these last, what I really consider to be the cherry on tops of your healing, you know, because you've been through so many big, powerful, from being completely paralyzed in pain, you know, where you're literally like, this is it, I can't move, I'm checking out, you know, to like being able to, you know, sit here today and talk about it from a hero's point of view, you know. So for her to find a doctor that she really trusts and believes that has extra tools that she can put into her box of tricks to heal herself, is really exciting for me. And I'm really hoping that I can help and assist you on this journey, and we can, you know, raise you some abundance to get out there to that amazing doctor that you so wish to meet. So yeah, I'm really excited about this next step, because I can almost feel us there already, because I just know that it's like the cherry on top of this whole healing journey is to finally get to the top pretty much expert in the world, is he not?
He's definitely the doctor you're talking about. Is the Dr. Tony Jimenez from Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers, which are in Mexico. And yeah, he's amazing. He's definitely he's the top doctor when it comes to integrative medicine. So he does use some conventional treatments, but mainly focuses on the non-toxic therapies. And amazingly, he just published his new book, and in the book there is the star, which represents his 7 principles to healing cancer. And remember, when I send it to you, it just completely reflects the elemental healing temple, flower of life. It's like with the spirit and emotions on top. The most amazing thing about that treatment is that emotional and spiritual side are the center of the treatment. And when I saw that, I thought, wow, this is like the first time I see a doctor who's got 30 years of experience in working with in oncology to actually represent healing in that way, with the spirituality and emotions at the center. And obviously he implements really cutting edge non-toxic cancer therapies, detoxification, takes care of nutrition, microbiome, oxygenation. And yeah, I've listened to a lot of his webinars and seminars, which he offers for free. He was a big part in the Truth About Cancer movement. And that's one place that is very inspiring for people who either going through cancer journey themselves or know someone who is, because the Truth About Cancer, the couple who produced it, they did extensive research into cancer treatments, alternative cancer treatments around the world, and they bring together the best specialists. But this doctor is definitely one of the top, if not the top, and his treatment centers are the only centers in the world that actually bring under one roof all those therapies and all the treatments. Yeah, there's a lot of things about it on my website. Probably by the time this interview will be online, there will be all information will be in one place. I'm working on it now. But yeah, it's remarkable, really. Like there truly is hope for cancer, you know, and truly the cancer is not a death sentence. It can be a great opportunity for change and transformation and become the true self, you know, just becoming the you that you are meant to be. Yeah. Amazing. And it's not only that inspiring, but obviously Dr. Joe Dispenza, like you said. I've been inspired by Greg Braden and the work of Heart Math Institute, creating the heart-brain coherence. So there's so much more to talk about.
So much more, and we'll totally be back because I know that everything that comes out of your mouth is profound and so helpful. And we're so grateful. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to coming to, yeah, to manifesting our mission to Mexico together. And yeah, if ever there was a sign that it was the right doctor, I mean, the Elemental Temple logo is very clear, you know, that the way that the logo looks like how the Elemental Healing Temple will look from above, with this very, very clear seven areas, and the fact that his work is literally put into the same chart, into the same sort of diagram, is just amazing. And if ever we needed a sign, which we probably didn't because you've done so much research to know it, but if ever we needed a sign, there it is. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really...
not just research, I actually followed, because this is the doctor that I discovered on the very beginning, literally when I came back from Poland after diagnosis. The Truth About Cancer documentaries were just airing, new documentaries, and I saw him in like a week probably after being back, and I started following those principles. So a lot of these principles, as much as I can implement in the in-home setting, I've been implementing, you know, hypothermia, oxygenation, coffee enemas. So all of that is the work of this guy, and probably without that, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I've been already doing that treatment, but the next step is to actually take it further and go into the non-toxic cancer therapies, which can be offered only in the treatment centers. They cannot be done at home. And as well, the advice, you know, this is a person that can actually put everything I do together and take it a step further. We just said it's not many people who can do it, but I believe this guy can do it, you know. He can actually bring more clarity and take me forward. Yeah, amazing man. I really recommend checking him because it's just amazing in cancer treatment and prevention. You know, he said that by the statistics show that by 2030, every person in United States will have cancer at some point in their life, which is shocking statistics. It's like another pandemic. So all those principles as well apply not only to cancer treatment, but to prevention, apart from the intensive cancer therapies, which apply only to people who actually are on the journey of cancer. But everything else is about prevention. And once again, the emotional and spiritual aspect, you know, going into the void and feeling good.
Oh, thank you so much. I can't believe we've run out of time already, but it's just been such an amazing, amazing, amazing interview. And I'm so grateful for you for opening your Pandora's box with me and Pandora Ixchel here today, who is, we've just absorbed everything that you've said, and we just love you so much. We just can't wait to just be following you onto this next amazing part of your journey and creating our beautiful temple together, which we've been visioning. And you know, just the fact that you've visioned yourself back to health and wellness, I know that the Elemental Healing Temple is going to happen because you've created the neural pathways now, and you've got a very powerful mind there. So when we all come together with that very beautiful same vision, and that's why, you know, I'm being really selective of who I bring into the Elemental Temple space, because I just really want it to be built from every single brick to every single part of it, just to have the most sacred and high vibrational energy of people that are literally living their truth, you know, and walking their talk. And you are such an example of that. And I know one day when we're in our temple, you'll be able to heal so many people with all of this knowledge that this very, very a turbulent journey has given you so many skills. And now, you know, you've done so much work on yourself that when you are able to finally leave your own healing alone because you're fully whole and healed, then you'll be able to heal the world with what you know, sweetheart. So keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for sharing everything that you have, and thank you for talking so openly to us, because I know it's not an easy Pandora's box to open, and you know, it really is the perfect time to share. And I'm so happy that throat chakra of yours is now really eloquently sharing with the world your truth, because it's an incredible story, and you're an absolutely amazing, magnificent being, goddess, supreme high priestess, medicine woman. And we thank you so much for everything that you do for us all on the planet, because as you process your healing, you're healing Mother Earth, and we thank you for that, sister. We love you.
Oh, thank you, sister. It's been an honor to be part of this series of interviews, and it's an honor to be part of the Elemental Healing Temple. It's an honor to be a friend and your sister. You know, it's such a blessing in my life. I love you very much. And I'm looking forward to many more years of creating and manifesting together.
Absolutely. Aho!
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, I love you, sister. Mwah. Have a beautiful day. Speak soon.